side of the frame, according to Mike, to free up the work, as he felt it was constrained. Mike, for his part, insisted the side be replaced to focus balance. Was it Connor insisting on his right to change the work at any time? And this had been a big issue between Connor and the Museum of Modern Art. In fact, he had a major argument between Connor saying, I have a right to come into the gallery at any time and change it. And of course this was terrifying for the museum. We couldn't sort of tolerate that, and then Mike had to step in and referee. It was Mike's painting after all, and he had to sort of negotiate the situation until such time it was able to be shown. But I think you can see that whether the painting is freed up by the loss of that side or not, it creates other meanings within the painting which were quite typical of Bruce Conner. Like the 3-day continuous exhibition he had at the Batman, Touch Don't Touch, which had dozens of black paintings all around the gallery with Don't Touch on them. And there was one single one which said Touch. And when you tried to, you were stopped by a glass screen. And this 3-day occupation reflected a bit the period between crucifixion and resurrection on the 3rd day. More vintage Connors. Peter Boswell, the director of the Miami Art Museum, is reported in the New York Times, said of Conner, he'll eventually be recognised as one, perhaps the most important West Coast artist of his time. I consider him to be on a par with Andy Warhol and Robert Rauschenberg. He was an artist who never got his due. When I mentioned this to Mike, he retorted saying, Warhol wasn't even in the same league. He was artistically bankrupt and nothing to say. So all I hope is that Mike and the director from Miami are both right. At Eclectic, we're trying to find a good home for all the work, and if they're right, this work, Crucifixion, is one of the top 2 or 3 paintings by an American artist in Australia today. Which ones would be better? Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, Rothko, perhaps Bruce Conner. After working with Mike, there's lots of stories about these artists, and much of this you will find on the walls and in the catalogue. The Eclectic Gallery is very proud and grateful to have had the opportunity to present these works of the most influential American artists of the Hippy Era. And Mike is to be congratulated for his dedication and grit in keeping the collection intact for the last 50 years. It is unique and valuable, and we hope this will be recognised by a suitable collector or institution in Australia or the United States. In talking with Mike last week about this exhibition, he said it was his hope the exhibition will inspire young Melbourne artists to fearlessly explore different realms of consciousness as they express their creativity. As for Jan and I at the Eclectic Gallery, we've always encouraged the spirit of bon courage in our artists, both here and overseas. So we also share and endorse Mike Agron's hope. We're seeking expressions of interest in all or part of the collection, and the closing date is 30th of November later this year. And while we have a selection of works here today, all of the works will be available throughout November for viewing. So I'd like to formally open this exhibition celebrating the Batman Gallery Mike Agron collection and seek expressions of interest in its purchase. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them about the collection. Any questions about any of the collection? If you want to express an interest in any of the works, there are forms which are there. While we, as I've said, we're trying to sell the collection as a whole. we are taking expressions of interest, and later on in the year we hope that we'll be able to come up with appropriate purchases. But essentially, enjoy the afternoon today, and thank you very much for coming.